Welcome to WagerTalk TV. I'm Kelly Stewart. We're going to talk about some Super Bowl betting tips, but first, this video is sponsored by uwager.eu. Get a 50% sign-up bonus when using promo code WT50 when signing up. This offer is exclusive to WagerTalk. Welcome in Sports Cheetah and Teddy Covers. Yeah, those are their nicknames. Preston Johnson. Teddy at Sports Memo is what I'm going to call him. No, Sabransky. I screwed it up. Easy. God, it's like so bad because your last name's Covers in my mind. That being said, we're going to talk about Super Bowl betting tips. Okay, I'm going to throw this out there. Guys, just because it's a Super Bowl does not mean you need to go crazy. We're still talking about money management. We're still talking about, yes, this is entertainment. Yes, this is the biggest football event of the year. So sure, if you want to, dabble in some props and some fun stuff for entertainment purposes, but remember, do not blow your bankroll on the Super Bowl. No crazy bets. Teddy, I'll start with you. What are some of your favorite Super Bowl betting tips?
Well, I mean, not all your bankroll. Everyone's going to go a little bit larger than normal in the Super Bowl. Let's be realistic. But the key is, if you're going to make bets, at least make positive expectation wagers.
Exactly.
The coin. If you want to bet the coin toss.
Me. That's my favorite bet. But you're right. I'm not going to go throw $1,000 on the coin flip.
Sure. I mean, you're allowed to bet. You can bet make all the $20 bets you want within reason,
Yeah.
But you don't be making stupid bets for large sums of money just because it's Super Bowl, and that's the single best piece of advice we can give you, I think.
Yeah, I've been in that boat plenty of times. The Patriots-Falcons Super Bowl, for example, I think the total was 59 and a half.
Oh, and then overtime.
And the under was one of the biggest bets I've ever made in my life. And I didn't hedge any. It was 0-0 after the 18 minutes into the game. I mean, what can you do? But at the same time, I've also gone pretty big on, I know someone that knows someone that heard the first song in the practice session of the halftime show, and this is what so-and-so band or artist is going to be singing, and I've been correct before, I've been wrong before. So, that so-and-so filled the Gatorade jug with blue, I think.
I mean,
you get information, and then you see the market starts moving, and it must be right. So you're asking everyone you can to get down for you. And anyway, I've been on the good end of the
And then you have 2 dimes on the blue Gatorade, and it ends up being purple.
I think I had 4,000 or 5,000 once on a first song. It went from plus 1,200 to pick, and it was wrong.
I found out the other day that apparently the head of the coin weighs more than the tail side of the coin. So tails actually lands 51% of the time versus 49, and I'm like, no way. This is not true, and I had to get on Google, and it's partially true depending on the coin that they use.
Is it the normal quarter or the NFL coin?
Yeah, but the NFL isn't using a quarter.
Correct, right, but it's like this whole thing now got me screwed up in my mind because tails has hit 4 out of the last 5 times, and I've gotten smoked on my heads bet because that's what I like to bet when it comes to the coin flip.
But that's an excellent thing to talk about here, which is information overload, okay? What do we look for? We look for market inefficiencies all the time. And when you're talking about the Super Bowl betting market, A, it's enormous. B, Book A and Book B aren't always priced in the same number, certainly when it comes to props. Initially, you'll find sometimes surprisingly dramatic disparities. And there's a lot of professional bettors that view the Super Bowl as they're just one middle after the next as the books open up their over-under numbers on quarterback yards and running back yards and all the various props. And in decades past, I don't even know if it's really been this decade, but 20 years ago, 15 years ago, wise guys were going all in on the Super Bowl with the props because the markets were so inefficient. In the modern era, in 2019, we're not talking about an incredibly inefficient market, certainly not when it comes to side and total. So these aren't the types of games that we're going to back the dump truck up to the window to make huge bets because the positive expectation wagers, they're there, but there's not dozens of them on the board.
Preston, another tip from you for our viewers. I know you're not going to be here. By the way, next Monday we're going to be doing a huge Super Bowl prop show. Preston already has prior engagements, so anything you have maybe on prop betting tips?
Ooh, prop betting specifically? I'll tell you my main just kind of general tip, and then I'll think while I'm talking about prop bets. But this actually goes for all of NFL playoffs, but just don't succumb to the recency bias. And I think we've already seen it in the market.
Absolutely.
I actually think the Rams at -1.5 of the opener was correct. I actually think they should be a small favorite, and people are like, well, what the heck?
Well, we saw NFC was -1 versus AFC when the playoffs started.
Right. And the Rams, they were a 3-point dog in New Orleans, and now they're almost a 3-point dog on a neutral to the Pats, who would be a dog to New Orleans for sure. So the Saints were the highest power rated team for most people and models, everything. So I think that's one thing. Just don't get, oh, I just saw what Brady and Belichick did and the overtime win in Kansas City, and that's what you remember. And then sure enough, the market moved huge that night. And so you just want to get caught up in that, whether it be totals or sides, because it is a big Super Bowl game. You're going to have a lot more people that are putting money into the market. So anyway, I like the Rams. And especially if it gets to 3, there's like one spot they did.
I think every single one of us at this table is waiting for the Rams to get to 3.
Yeah, and I honestly think they're the better team, so they should be a favorite. If you're getting 3, you have to take it. And ultimately, for me, Tom Brady, they were great on third down when it comes to specifics, which I know we're going to have other videos for that. But KC was rushing 3, maybe 4, and letting Brady hit the windows on 3rd and longs. The Rams front 4 at least is going to cause more pressure than KC's could, even if they don't blitz. And so I think the matchup actually favors the Rams some. But in general, you just don't want to overreact, whether it even be props. Like, okay, Todd Gurley, this is a great one, or C.J. Anderson. How are you going to take what they've done the last couple of games, or Sonny Michel, who's been running over teams? You don't want to overreact to just 1, 2, 3 game samples. So that's my main
And you think maybe the bookmakers, we don't have the prop sheet out yet. They're supposed to be out this afternoon to Saturday. But for example, you think that they're going to juice those running backs?
They'll react towards what you've seen the last couple of games, or at least in the NFL playoffs, versus maybe what should be an overall expected number or result for a certain player.
So if somebody did want to bet, let's just say Todd Gurley over rushing yards, how would you recommend they go about to look as far as data goes?
I mean, as far as data goes, and this is tough. So Gurley's one that I probably wouldn't even bother, because I think it's obvious that he's injured.
Right.
And it's hard to know unless you are a coach there to what degree he's injured and how that's affecting him. But I would say that if you did want to bet Gurley and you think the 2 weeks off will be helpful, and he was hard on himself after that game, and he thanked his teammates for getting the win. Maybe he bounces back, right? You can probably wait, though. I think the market will probably come down. If you liked the Rams, you obviously could have waited. If you liked, the Rams, you shouldn't have been taking -1.5, -1 after the Patriots game that just happened against KC. So you just have to kind of measure your timing, or at least make the correct timing, and you'll at least maximize your ROI that way.
Teddy, I'll let you finish. Another Super Bowl betting tip from you.
Another betting tip. Well, I mean, the reason, the thing that you just talked about, Preston, with the recency bias, to me is, and that's not a tip though. It's not a separate tip, but I wanted to touch on it for a minute, because that's what I'm thinking about right now. And I can think of all of these Super Bowls that come into mind, like when the Colts had the worst defense in the NFL, but then the defense got better in January. And when the Ravens, when Joe Flacco suddenly caught fire, and the Ravens, oh, look at the Ravens, they stink, oh, no, they don't, Flacco caught fire. And all of these teams that are all of a sudden a different team just for a couple of weeks in January and into February, and the way they do it has changed from what happened in the regular season. In general, when I'm looking at the Super Bowl, I'm all about what has a team done in the postseason. And when it comes to the props, I am very much involved in the recency bias, but from a side and total perspective, that's where you're going to get into trouble, because obviously from a power rating standpoint, these two teams are power rated pretty close to even. And what we've seen is now, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick are the unbeatable duo in every Super Bowl ever, and that's why the line has moved where it is. But the Super Bowl is unique in that it's the only sporting event in any sport where the public legitimately has an impact on the point spread.
Right, because
it doesn't matter, World Series, NBA
before.
Finals, none of them. The public has any influence at all. This is the one game where they do, and it's clear the public here likes New England. That's why the point spread moved the way it has.
Right, real quick, Teddy, on that note, and then I'm going to get to Preston. But we know the public doesn't bet early.
Sure, this is the wise guys getting in front of the public.
Got it. Okay, just to clarify, because I'm going, wait, these guys, the public guys I know are going to text me on Saturday afternoon, Kelly, who do you like?
Sure.
Sunday morning, blowing me up before the Super Bowl when I have better things to be doing.
Exactly. Saturday afternoon is early.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that is early, Tim. That's where I was curious as to where this early money is coming in. It's the wise guys trying to get in front of the public, knowing the public is going to follow suit. Preston, your last point.
Yeah, I'm just going to make one more note. I think the narrative will be popular about how Tom Brady and Bill Belichick have always been there. They've done it before. McVay and the Rams, Goff, everyone there hasn't really. Belichick's been out-coached the last 2 Super Bowls by young, new school kind of coaches, was the Falcons and the Eagles. McVay's the god of the new school. I don't think Belichick has as big of an edge anymore coaching with 2 weeks against these new guys than people probably anticipate. But the narrative will be Belichick with 2 weeks. He's the best ever. Maybe he is, but I don't think it's actually as big of a disadvantage as people will talk about.
Okay, great stuff from both guys. This video is sponsored by WagerTalk. Get a 50% sign-up bonus when using promo code WT50 when signing up. This offer is exclusive to WagerTalk.